Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's truly a global platform here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and it's my honor and privilege to be with you today to host A Woman's Prerogative. This is a different time slot for us this week. We'll be back next week at our regularly scheduled time, which in the States, Eastern Time, New York time, is Mondays at 7 p.m. That's New York. Okay, today we have a very interesting topic, which I can actually understand and relate to very much. I'm not saying that I'm a stubborn person. I'm not saying the topic is being stubborn, but the topic is standing in your own way. Let's have a discussion about what you can do about it, what we can do about it, what I can do about it. Joining me is my dear friend. She was in New Zealand, but she's now in Australia. Her name is MARISKA, and she is so many things. She's a transformation coach. She's a leadership coach. She has an engineering background, and she also is an ICFPCC certified coach. She's also an author, and she's somebody who really cares about helping other people. Let's welcome her to the program. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. And it is wonderful to be here and to be here with you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you. It's been a couple of weeks, and I was saying to you backstage, I don't really remember the last time I broadcast, but it must have been with you 2 weeks ago. So I've been behind the scenes a lot, which is really a lot of fun as well. But tell us what you've been up to. Maybe people who started watching the show a while ago, because it's been going on, you were in Australia. You were in New Zealand, and now you're in Australia. Tell us what you're doing there.
So, yes, I've moved all the way from New Zealand to Australia. I know it's, well, just around the ditch. And it's still a big move because it's a new country. So what I have been up to so far, other than just settling in and making sure that I actually get my feet back under me, moving countries can be a lot. I have also been diving into what coaching looks like around here, as well as what engineering looks like around here, to get myself reacquainted with everything Australian, including some of the wildlife and birds. So for those of you that have never come to visit, I would definitely suggest it as a very good trip to take. And work-wise, I have been enjoying coaching leaders in all sorts of places. And I'm also at the moment working on some team coaching training, which is really, really exciting because we get to see how the system works and how our interactions within that space actually can build and sometimes, unfortunately, break some of the things, and how to become high value creating teams, not only high performing teams. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, and I have to say I've been loving it. And I'm also very excited about this topic today because, yes, standing in my own way, I have been known to do this also. Again, Dr. JACALYN, I'm with you, not necessarily because I'm stubborn, although my mom might disagree with that statement. Also because I might have ideas about things that may or may not be serving me. and hence me getting in my own way from time to time. And we all do that, I am sure, because we are all human. And I'm sure that if we haven't gotten in our own way, well, maybe you can then get a few tips of how to avoid those traps in future for yourself. If you are one of the lucky ones that has a tendency to just jump through or over said hoops. And with that, Dr. JACALYN, I am dying to get into this topic.
Fantastic. I am too. So you and I come from different perspectives. Obviously, we're in different countries. I'm hardcore single for not changing, and you're in a committed marriage relationship. So for me, like today, I just had an example of something I needed to do that really could have been beyond my limits. And I just thought to myself, I'm not going to wait for someone to help me. I'm always like this. Just going to get it done myself. Even though it may not be the best thing to do, I don't care. I'm going to get it done. And I did. And that, I think, is somewhat being stubborn. But at the same time, I feel that I'm responsible for the life that I have, and I need to count on me first. So what do you think about that? Is that, I don't want to say foolish, but is that a misguided way of looking at things?
I have a tendency to have similar lines of thought around the just get it done element of things. I also think one of the things that you mentioned is that I'm gravitating towards is that take responsibility. The only person that can take responsibility for anything in life is me, for my life. And that goes for anybody else. They are the person that takes responsibility for them in their life. I know that we don't always live it that way, but I think that is something that to me is really, really important. And some might see that as being a little bit maybe stubborn. I don't know. And in saying that, asking for help when required is also a good trait. Being able to do that in a way when we know that we need it, or hopefully before we see that we are sinking. So typically what I know for myself is, especially at my younger age, is I would typically not ask for help at all. And then the pawpaw would literally hit the fan. And of course you have fruit salad everywhere, which just makes a mess. Not ideal. And over time, I have learned that asking for help is a good thing. And it is actually helpful. And in that way, I can also get more perspectives around how to potentially do things or work through things. So I think there's two sides potentially to this coin, one coin, different sides of it. Or it might be multiple coins. I'm not sure. What do you think, Dr. JACALYN?
I love the fruit salad comment, by the way. That's classic. Well, here's what I have to say about that. I feel like it's not difficult for me to ask for help, but when I ask for help, there's a lot of opinions about what it is I'm doing, and you should be doing it this way and you should be doing that way. And then I feel like, as you know, elevated listening, setting boundaries. So then I might have to set a boundary. I'd love to have your help, Mariska. However, I've already got everything figured out. I just need you to carry this or do that. But when you're asking for someone's help, aren't you opening the door for them to give their opinion and feedback? What do you think?
Well, I think it depends on how we ask for help. So if we say, for instance, and I'm thinking about your example of, well, I'm going to ask for help, and then I might get the opinions of a whole bunch of people that their own opinions about things, right? About how we're supposed to do things in life. And I think for me, if I'm very specific about the type of help that I need, well, that's the only help that they can say yes or no to, right? Either, yes, you can help me with that, or no, you cannot help me with that. And that's the only real answer that I'm looking for. And if the answer is yes, then let's go and you can help me. Great. If, however, I am unclear about the type of help that I need. So sometimes, and I think, Dr. JACALYN, to your point around listening as well as boundary setting, we don't do it well when we actually go in to ask. So it might be that we are not clear ourselves as to what type of help it is that we need. Or it might be that we are not communicating it in a way where when it lands at the other person's ear and it gets processed in a way where it is helpful for us. So that might be part of how we communicate it. That might be a little bit wonky. So going back to the taking responsibility, I want to take responsibility around how I ask for help as well, to make sure that I get the type of help that I actually need. And the clearer I can be with that, the easier it is for me to ask, and the easier it is for the other person to say, yes, okay, I can help you. Because if I just go, hey, will you help me? Well, what do you want me to help you with? It can be anything, right? Do you need advice, in which case I get opinions about how this thing may or may not be done, which might not be helpful or anything that I'm looking for at all? Or do you need me to do something very specific? Go and pick up my dog at the vet's because I have a different appointment that I cannot not be at, and my dog's been spending way too much time at the vet, for example. So whatever the specific ask is, if I can be very specific with the thing that needs to happen, the person can be very specific as to saying, yes, I can help you out with that, or no, I cannot. And then we can have a discussion around it, and it sort of already sets those boundaries. So, and I'm not sure, Dr. JACALYN, what's your thoughts about asking for help and how to do that in a way that would actually be helpful?
Well, I'm going to answer that and also throw something into the mix for you to consider. I found over time there are certain people who will offer to help, and they really will show up and help. And there are other people, is there anything I can do to help you? Like, for example, when I moved, a lot of people said, and then I really wanted to call them out on it and say, you know what, I really could use some help. But I really felt like they just threw it out there thinking I was never going to accept the offer. And there are certain people that I've known for years, no names, that I have to say they want to help. And when I've asked them, they have a million excuses. So now I have them sort of like, if you have a sock drawer, they're in the back of the sock drawer in a compartment that, you know, if I want to get together once in a while, but they're not moving to the front of the sock drawer. But do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever experienced something like that where you can't really rely on someone and you think maybe they're just asking you just to be polite?
Mm-hmm. I think, and that happens, right? They might say, oh yeah, just let me know if you need some help. Okay, help with emotional support, help with physically coming to help me move boxes and pack stuff in. What sort of help is it that you are actually offering? And maybe that might be part of the question when they offer to help out in whatever shape or form, because their idea of helping and our idea of helping might not be the same one.
Very true. And what about this? Justin Merigliani just had a show last night, and it was about, can you be too kind? So if someone offers to help you with something, Have you ever, it's very natural, it's a human thing. Have you ever thought to yourself, what will I have to do in turn for them? So and again, moving is a big one because you moved recently, I moved, and asking someone to help you move is really a big commitment. And it's from a number of reasons, but if somebody breaks something or if something happens or they get injured or whatever it might be, plus it's tiring, it takes a lot of time. And then it would seem to be very kind to help them out with something after the fact. So one might think I'd rather do it myself, and then this way I'm off the hook. I don't know who that would be, but
well, I think for me, it is when I offer to help, I don't expect something in return. So I am helping you because I am seeing that you need help, and I feel that I have the response ability, so the ability to respond to you at that stage to help out. And I'm happy to do that. And I know that for some people, it is a little bit of a tit for tat. So typically, when it comes to asking for help, and I know the person has a bit of a tit for tat way of thinking, I would think twice before doing it. And I will also be very considerate about what type of help I'm asking from them, so that it is within my bucket of, yeah, okay, I can give help back of the same degree and quantity. And if I were to offer help or somebody were to ask me for help, I would gladly do so without tit for tat. So I think that also comes into the considerations and play potentially of how to do that. And to your point, Dr. Jacalyn, it really depends on what it is that we need assistance with. I mean, when we moved back in South Africa, I, for instance, asked my parents to help out, not with the packing, but they had a vehicle that had capacity to help us move big things. So it was a lot easier for us to do that. In New Zealand, I didn't have that option. So I would then get a company to help me out. Yes, at a fee. So a little bit more tit for tat. I pay you and you come and you help me. And I also had friends where sometimes I had to rehome plants. And it's more of a giving in that case. And still they needed to help out with clearing up whatever the plant piece that needed to be moved. So it's really very dependent on how it is that I think we ask for help and what type of help it is that we are requesting within that space. And what I'm wondering in addition to this, Dr. Jacalyn, is while you are considering whether to ask for help or try and do it for yourself, have you come across times where you wish you did ask for that help that you initially thought, no, it's fine, I'll do it myself?
Yes, absolutely. I can think of a really funny time when I moved. I had a safe, and I actually weighed it at one point. It weighed 46 pounds, and it's one of those fireproof, destruction proof. And so I remember I was taking it from the car, and somebody offered to open a door for me. I'm like, no, I have it. And then I got on the elevator and I got off the floor, and I walked to where I thought my unit was, and it turns out I was on the wrong floor. So I had to put it down. I was dripping in sweat, and someone offered to help me. Like, no, I have it. So by the time I got back on the elevator and I went to the right floor and I went to my unit, my heart was racing. The sweat was pouring. And I thought, I shouldn't have done this. I mean, I could have gotten hurt. I mean, it's ridiculous. But in that case, I thought, no, I'm strong. I lift weights. I can do it. So it was really an ego thing. And I think sometimes the ego does play a role in the fact that we think we're invincible. We can do everything. And then I think we also think sometimes what is behind the other person wanting to help me when they've never wanted to help me before. Like if a stranger helps you, for example, if you're in an airport and maybe you're taking your bag down or putting your bag up, I always say no. I'm like, no, I've got it because I lift weights and I'm strong. And so, but that's just a nice thing for somebody to help you. That's, but then I think, well, what if they knock somebody out with a bag when they're taking it off? Because, sometimes the bags are unsettled. So I put way too much thought into it because I think people genuinely are kind and they are good and they do want to help. And I just need to be a little more open to that and take people's help. When people offer, I need to accept.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a wise lesson. Well, for me, definitely too. And for all of us, I know that just thinking about life in general, there's a lot of times that, for instance, we will go shopping, me and hubby, walk down the aisle as you do. And there might be somebody that's quite a bit shorter, right? Trying to reach something on a shelf that, let's face it, they put it in impossible places. And then because he is taller, he would reach out and get it for them, right? It takes nothing. It's literally, there you go, 5 seconds maybe?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And did they need to ask specifically? Well, I have eyes in my head. I can see that they're struggling. I am a little bit taller, so I can just as well. Same goes for flying. I know that a lot of times we don't always put our suitcases in the place exactly above our own seat, especially if we get into the plane a little bit later on. And then if there's somebody that's looks like they struggle or their suitcase is in a space that's close to ours, why not just move it to them? Makes it nice and easy for them. It doesn't take any skin off my nose. I'm still fine. They're happy because they don't have to struggle with waiting for their suitcase or whatever the case might be. And just being graceful and accepted. Something I had to learn very early on. Just say thank you.
I love that. What's coming to mind for me is I was 5'3". I think I'm 5'2.5" now, sadly. But I know I was in the grocery store and there was something on one of the top shelves and there was no way I could reach it. And it wasn't just at the end of the top shelf, it was sort of in the middle of it. So I stepped up onto the bottom shelf and I was kind of doing like a hang gliding thing backwards, like trying with one hand. I thought, this is dangerous. This doesn't make any sense. So I waited till someone taller came around and I asked them for help. And that felt really good because when you're so much in your ego and you think I can do this, in that example, first of all, I shouldn't have been standing on the shelf. It's not a jungle gym, right? It's a store. So in that case, I was glad that someone offered to help me and it all worked out well because it could have been very bad otherwise. Yeah.
I do not want to read headlines, Dr. JACALYN trapped under shopping shelves. Not good.
She was stuck in the iced tea line. That was the end of her. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about an area that really is your expertise because you do coach leaders, you coach teams. And I think there are times when maybe a leader sees things in a different perspective than the team might, or even team members see things differently than one another. And there's one person who's just like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to hear of it. So let's talk a little bit about that. How would that be?
Mm-hmm. That sounds like fun.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us here at USA Global TV and Radio.
Ever dreamed of hosting your own TV show, sharing your story with a global audience? Now's your chance to shine. At USA Global TV and Radio, we make it easy for you to create, host, and broadcast your very own TV show. Whether you're a storyteller, entrepreneur, or industry expert, we help you bring your vision to life. With our exclusive interview, live streaming, and podcasting training, you'll gain the skills and confidence to captivate your audience. Our global platform ensures your voice is heard worldwide. Join our community of creators who are already making an impact, one show at a time. Step into the spotlight. Host your own TV show on USA Global TV and Radio. Book your discovery call today at usaglobaltv.com. Copyright 2025. USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. To learn more, visit usaglobaltv.com.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I want to give a big hello to all of our loyal fans across the world. And I want to say hello to our fans at E360 TV who will be watching this show tomorrow. We're thrilled to have you here. Our topic on A Woman's Prerogative is standing in your own way, standing in my own way, standing in our own way. And joining me today is our full-time panelist who is an expert in this area because she coaches leaders, she coaches teams. She is the go-to person. She helped me leave my corporate job in 2020, so long ago, and be here today with this incredible platform, global people, global shows, providing global education. So let's welcome back to the program, Mariska Dupria, joining us from Australia. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
So for people who don't know, you are a certified coach, and there's so many coaches out there, but not all of them have the credentials that you have. So would you just enlighten our audience about the credentials you have as a coach?
So within the coaching space, there is not a lot of regulation. So it's really good to make sure that you have a coach that has some ethical standards behind them. And ICF is one of the ways that you can do that as a coach. So I am certified as a ICF PCC coach. So within the ICF space, we have different levels of coaching expertise. And this goes around both training as well as time that you've been coaching, so amounts of hours that you put in, different spaces within which you coached, and all of that adds up to a credential which gets certified with them, and then you can go off coaching, of course, abiding by the ethics. So that's one of the things that was really important to me, coming from an engineering space that is well regulated. I wanted to have something that I could say, well, yes, I am abiding by a certain set of rules that's governing us as a coaching community, and that I also can stand behind, and hence why I signed up with the ICF. And that is also now a little way for you to know how to look for a coach. The website has a whole bunch of different coaches. So if you are interested in coaching, and you might think that my time zone might clash, or you are not looking for a leadership coach, you might be looking for a different type of coach, you're more than welcome to go to the ICF website and go to the portal where you can find any and all different types of coaches on there that would best suit your needs. Thank you for that, Dr. JACALYN.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I just want to say that at any given time, I've had 6 coaches, I've had 5 coaches. It's so good. You might not have someone who's officially a coach, but if you have someone who's a mentor or a confidant who is overlooking what you're doing. I know in this television business, I've had several people who have reached out to me over the years saying, hey, I'm watching what you're doing and you're doing all the right things. Have you thought about this? This is where the industry's going. So I'm always receptive. In that way, I'm not standing in my own way because I'm responsible for growing this platform and for a team of people who are here and spending their time and money and effort. I want to make sure that they're getting the value that they need. So in that way, I'm not in my ego, but I guess it's just personally that I am. So let's go back to the topic about, let's start with a team member. So I know that there are times, I can think of companies right now where people are broken up into teams and then they're switched from one team to another. So it's not like they're on the same team forever. The leadership wants to have different dynamics to have people be able to share different thoughts. And many times somebody might feel insecure in sharing something, or maybe they don't have a lot of knowledge about something, but they learn through mentorship with other people. But in some cases, there are people who are very steadfast. they don't want to be in an area where they don't have knowledge. They don't want to learn new technology. They don't want to partner with her. I don't want to be with her. What do you do in cases like that when somebody's standing not only in their own way, but in the way of the organization's goals and objectives?
I think for me, first off, is to look at how we can create the psychological safety space, especially in a team. When it is our own personal growth, it's a little bit different, the way that we work with it and how we work with others. So when it's a one-on-one type of relationship, we build trust with the other person. And it really speaks around, will I trust this person for whatever future thing it is? And we know over time, and knowing the human, going back to the asking for help that we discussed a little bit earlier, how they will react and whether we can trust them with this knowledge, with this thing, with this request for help or not. So that's when we have a one-on-one relationship with the human. When we have a group relationship or a team relationship, it changes a little bit. So within that space, we really want to make sure that we have psychological safety. And that speaks to how safe am I at this very moment in time to bring this thing into this space, and how will the other people around me react? What would they do? Will I be prosecuted, or will I be safe and I can be vulnerable to bring this thing up? So that's the first place that I would start, because if we as a team, and it might be that we get a new member, or it might be that the whole team got all shuffled around and now we are a whole bunch of new people together. If we haven't established that psychological safety, we will find that all sorts of weird and wonderful things can start to happen. Some people might take over. They might feel that there's leadership needed, and their way of displaying that might be overbearing for some others. Some people might pull into their shells, not speak whatsoever. So you don't really get the type of teamwork that you need in order to be a high value creating team. Definitely won't be high performing, but value creating you will also not get to. So that's the first place that I would typically start, is understanding what it is that we feel within that space. And psychological safety is really the feeling. Do I feel safe in order to contribute in this space? Can I learn in this space? What is happening within the space that I feel okay? I feel safe enough to do that. So that would be my first focus area, because when I have that, I start to take some of the ego out of that space, because ego is that piece that we want to keep safe. And we all want to do that. We are human. So making sure that it is safe so that our egos feel safe, it makes it easier then to quiet it down, say, you are fine, you are okay. This is a good, safe environment, and we can start to share. We can also not force anybody else to feel psychologically safe. We can only invite it in. So understanding how to be able to invite it in, and that, leader, is your job. So yes, it is also part of the team. We are co-creating it together, and we need to take the ability to respond, so our own responsibility for it. And as a leader, we are also the one to help create that space. And in saying that, I know, Dr. JACALYN, that you are working with a team of sorts. We are a group of people, and you have worked with teams before. What's your experience been like?
Well, it's interesting with this team, because we are a global team and people have different cultures and people look at things in different ways. There are many times when I think to myself, I have to really put myself in the other person's shoes. And sometimes it might require me taking off my leadership hat and just putting on my hat as a human being to understand what's behind what this person is saying or what they're going through. And I'll give you an example. We had a team member who is very successful, very accomplished, speaks all over the world. But yet when it came to doing television shows, this person felt extremely uncomfortable. And I never really understood the reason behind it. So we had coaching sessions to talk about it. And it basically was that the person didn't feel they were good enough. So my question was, how do you feel when you're on a stage in front of all these people speaking? And the response was that it's a different type of presentation, which I understand. I definitely understand that. I mean, this is out there forever and people can watch it whenever they want. So the point of that is I feel that we need to understand what is making this person feel the way that they feel, because there's always something deeper. And as a coach, even as a life coach, there's always something. If you peel back the layers, something is there. And I know for me, when I was in corporate, I worked with a lot of men, and not through the whole time, but this specific time. And what I found was that when I would speak, you're around the conference table and everybody's saying what they want to say. And certain people were always talking. And I would wait until I was called on to say something. And then I felt very nervous, but I thought, what, I was asked to say what I think about X, Y, and Z. And so I would give my opinion, and then there might not be any feedback from anyone else except for the leader. And I finally realized, but it wasn't until I left, that it wasn't my problem. It was their problem. But I always thought it was my problem. And that was that insecurity that I'm not good enough, that my answers are stupid.
Yes. And how many times don't we feel like that?
It's like an idiot, like a fool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what if what I say, they don't agree with it? What if what I say sounds stupid? What if the question that I have about this thing is this dumb question?
Right.
And all of those things happen in my head. Nobody else knows about it. And I'm actually depriving everybody of a potential insight, which is sad because I don't get to be me fully, and they don't get to experience the whole me either, which I find a little bit heartbreaking, really, because that's why we are here. You are the only you on this planet, and I am the only me on this planet. So if I don't bring all of me, nobody else is going to do it.
Exactly. And nobody has the experience that you have, or have, gone through some of the circumstances that you've gone through. The same thing with me. I just remember reading a quote from Meryl Streep. I think it was on Instagram a day or two. Do you know who she is?
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote that there's something, and I'm paraphrasing, so I'm sorry, Meryl, if you ever watch this, but something to the effect, when we're younger, we worry about aging, we worry about our looks. And as we get older, we realize we can't stop the process. It's going forward. And we might not like it. I'm adding that in. But what we realize is there's so many things that we don't have to accept or put up with anymore. So that woman, me, who was at that conference table in corporate America, that person's not here anymore. That person left town, and I'm here now because at this age, I'll be 62 in 2 weeks, I think. I've learned a lot, and I realize what truly is important and what's just ego-based noise. And so I just wanted to reference that that's what she had said. I'm paraphrasing again, but that's what I took away from what she said.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that's the one thing, if I could wish anything for people on this planet, it is to have that wisdom a lot sooner, a lot earlier in life, because it would make life so much easier. Just on an individual basis, one-off, for most people, it's going to make life so much easier. And I think as a collective, understanding that and really living into the things that we find are valuable for us. and being okay with the fact that whatever is valuable for us is not valuable for everyone. I mean, otherwise we would have been gray blobs, which would just be boring. So understanding that and seeing the differences. And one of the other things that I also, speaking about that at the moment, and coming back to this topic about standing in our own way, I know that we place a lot of emphasis on what we value. And sometimes the thing that we value can be a thing that stands in our way. It can be something that stops us from achieving, stops us from doing something that might be really great because we have attached so much value to it. So also being able to evaluate it and see, well, I value this thing. Yes, I value it a lot. It's really, really important to me. And by me doing that, by me valuing this thing so much, what am I gaining? And also be aware, what am I giving up within that space? And then, I mean, just deciding what it is that you want. And if the giving up is something that you don't want, potentially it needs to be evolved and changed into something else. It might not be exactly the same thing, or it might just have a little bit of a caterpillar butterfly type of experience. Who knows? It would go to a place, though, that would serve you better. And that's really, I think, for me, especially when I think about values, in my younger years, I always thought they were very fixed. And I have come to realize over time that nothing is fixed. We make everything up as we go. And it's wonderful and it's scary at the same time. And Dr. JACALYN, with that being said, what's your experience of it?
No, it's very true. It's sort of an evolution of things. And I think some key takeaways for me is there's an ego side to it. And there's also a humanitarian side to it where you really want to help other people because you feel good doing it. I mean, it does feel good to help other people, and you've heard of pay it forward. So maybe someone helps you and then you help a completely different person. And I think that's really important. And I think for teams, I remember someone on my team did not want to learn Salesforce.com because he'd been around so long and he felt like he was so successful, he didn't need it. But yet, when I started working with Salesforce.com, I really learned a lot about what I was doing, like how to organize things. I was like, wow, I really could use some more leads over here. And so I think that being open to change and to having somebody listen, I think listening is really important, especially if you're a leader or even a team member, getting to the core of what is really going on with this person. And once you get to that, again, it could be listening. Somebody really just needed someone to talk to, and because they don't have the person to talk to, they're reacting the way that they are. So I think if we can come together and try to understand what someone else is experiencing, that we might not have that, I'm keep doing it my way, I'm going to keep doing it this way, because there's something to be said about that. There's something underlying the reason that the person's like that. So we have already run out of time, which is unbelievable. Mariska, I know you've got a fantastic website, which we're going to bring up, which is Journey to Discover. And let's take a look at it right here. What can people find out about you here on this website?
So you can find out how to work with me. We also have other things that come up every now and again, such as working groups that I organize, which I would also put on the website when we have those. And of course, there's also a whole bunch of resources on there related to different things. So we have some different tools that you can use. There's some blog posts on there as well. So there's a whole bunch of things to explore. And of course, there's our contact information as well. So if you would like to have a little bit more in-depth conversation, or potentially you didn't find any of the resources that you were looking for, you want to dig into something a little bit more, you are more than welcome to do so. And contact information is really, really easy. It's my name, which is Mariska. You can see that on the screen. And the rest of it is at journey2discover.com. I know Dr. Jacalyn has nightmares about my email address.
Too.
Alternatively, you can also, of course, find me on LinkedIn. And as you can see, for some odd reason, I dropped my surname and I just have a D. So yes, that's the places where you can get hold of me.
Fantastic. Thank you. And for some odd reason, I'm on Crohn. This is not odd. I'm on Crohn because of StreamYard. But when I went to my own LinkedIn, it didn't go to my name. It went to Dr. Jacalyn. So now on Chrome, I have a whole new LinkedIn. So you and I aren't even connected. We're second. So I don't know how that happened, but I don't really use it. So there you go. So Mariska, it's a pleasure seeing you again. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you next week too, and welcoming back everybody that normally joins us for the show, as well as everybody that's new to the show. We hope we've got you hooked.
Fantastic. And are you on Talking Heads this week or next week or the week after?
I need to go and check. I think it's this week, as far as I remember.
All right.
I will need to go and check.
Check our YouTube channels. You'll be able to see it there, USA Global TV and Radio, and also Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. All right, we are going to go over to our sponsors, and we really thank you all for being here. And again, we wish you all the best. And think about opening up your heart, opening up your mind, and maybe somebody out there has some value they can bring to you. But if you don't open up, you'll never find out. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Steve Klein Art at steveklein.art.
My name is Steve Klein, born Manchester, England, 1953. My quest in my lifetime is to create artwork from my soul and the deepness within my wildest dreams and fantasies. In 2012, my heart stopped when I was given too much anesthetic for a minor knee operation, and this near-death experience took me to another multidimensional world, an out-of-body experience, and I was given the gift of being blessed by an overwhelming, burning passion to become, for the very first time in my life, an artist with an eternal, passionate desire to bring my art, which I've named multidimensional, subliminal, freeform art, to the world, as only 3% recover from what I experienced. And now in my golden years want to release my cosmic, vital energy through my art to allow people to be a part of my cosmic dance.
To learn more, email roccogoodwine@gmail.com. For VIP pricing, mention USA Global TV and Radio.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio, and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. KERBECK's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations.
Meet Red O'Loughlin, TV show host, presenter, and author.
Howdy y'all, Red O'Loughlin here. I'm a TV host on the USA Global TV and Radio Network.
Red has 3 weekly shows every Thursday.
I've been a TV host now with USA Global, probably maybe just a little over 3 years. Probably, I know for sure, 250, 300 shows.
Join Red on the Corner Bookstore.
The Corner Bookstore is one where we talk to authors, publicists, publishers, editors, cover designers, anybody associated with the writing and authoring book production business. You have somebody in that area, I can help you with regard to getting your book done, getting it published, working with you on a cover. A lot of things I can help people with, and I have probably maybe published over 40 books for people so far.
Join Red on The Wise Ones.
On the Wise Ones, I'm looking for entrepreneurs, business owners, people who have wisdom, lessons learned over time that they can share with others. So please go to usaglobaltv.com, sign up and join me there.
Book your session on usaglobaltv.com. Join Red on Talking Heads.
On Talking Heads, I take my experience. I fell in love with chemistry many years ago, got a degree in it, got an invitation to Vietnam, never practiced chemistry per se, but I did get a chance when my wife was going through chemo to get back into the chemical end of things. I started looking for cause and effect relationships. I had been working at a company doing cause and effect analysis on failures in the field on various products that we made. So I said, why not look at the cellular structure in the body? The chemicals are chemicals. They do certain things. So I take my knowledge of chemistry and research. I write about it. I speak about it. I have over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn, most of them dealing with some aspect of health or wellness. I speak on that topic quite often, and the Talking Head show is one that I concentrate my knowledge of health and wellness on in order to help people.
Red is a distinguished Toastmaster.
As a distinguished Toastmaster, I help people get their speeches developed. The presentation is something that I critique all the time with Toastmasters. It's one of those skills that I have. I can easily help you on that one. So from the position of writing, publishing, book coach, speaking, and being a keynote speaker at an event or virtually, depending on how things work out. But those are the things that I can help people with, and I have 3 shows every week here on the USA Global TV and Network, and please join me when you can. Appreciate it. Bye now.
Here are some of the books that Red has written and published. Contact Red at redolaflin.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting. We're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.